I found out my sister was sleeping with my husband at my mother's funeral. Not after, not before, during, while I stood by the casket, shaking hands with people I barely knew, my phone buzzed in my pocket. I ignored it 3 times. The 4th time I checked. It was a text from an unknown number, just a photo, no words, my husband's hand, his wedding ring, resting on my sister's bare thigh, in the church bathroom, 20 feet from where my mother's body lay. I looked up. He wasn't beside me anymore. Neither was she. My knees almost gave out. Someone asked if I was okay. I nodded, I smiled, I didn't scream, I didn't cry, I just stood there, frozen, staring at my phone, wondering how long, wondering how many times, wondering who took the photo. Where are you watching from today? Drop your location in the comments below and hit that like and subscribe button now. Your support means everything to me. If you've ever felt underestimated by your own people around you, you'll definitely want to stick around for what happened next. I couldn't move. People kept hugging me, telling me how sorry they were, how strong I was, how proud Mom would be. I felt none of it. I just kept staring toward the hallway, waiting for them to come back. My husband, Tom, my little sister, Claire, the 2 people I trusted most in the world, the ones who swore they'd hold me together today. I slipped my phone back into my pocket and forced myself to breathe. My hands were shaking. My chest felt tight. I wanted to run, to scream, to throw something. But I couldn't. Not here, not now, not in front of everyone, so I stood there, smiling, nodding, pretending, just like I'd been pretending for the last 6 months without even knowing it. Because that photo wasn't new. I could tell, the angle, the lighting, it was taken weeks ago, maybe months. They came back 5 minutes later. Together, Tom's tie was crooked. Claire's lipstick was smudged. She didn't even look at me, just walked straight to the front pew and sat down. Tom squeezed my shoulder, asked if I was okay. His hand felt cold, foreign. I pulled away. He didn't notice, or maybe he did and just didn't care. I watched them during the service. She cried. He rubbed her back. I felt sick. Everyone probably thought he was being supportive, comforting his grieving sister-in-law. But I knew. I saw the way his thumb moved in circles on her shoulder, the way she leaned into him, the way they didn't look at me. Not once. I sat between them, and I'd never felt more alone. My mother was dead, and the 2 people who should have been holding me up were the ones tearing me apart. After the burial, everyone came back to our house. My house. The one Tom and I bought 3 years ago. The one Claire had a key to. The one she'd been coming to every week for sister time while I worked late. I watched her move through the rooms like she owned them, refilling drinks, hugging guests, playing hostess. People kept telling me how lucky I was to have her, how close we were, how she'd take care of me now that Mom was gone. I wanted to laugh, or scream. Instead, I went upstairs, locked myself in the bathroom, and finally let myself cry, not for my mother, for me, for the life I thought I had, for the marriage I thought was solid, for the sister I thought loved me. I cried until my throat hurt. Then I washed my face, fixed my makeup, and went back downstairs because I wasn't ready to confront them yet. I needed proof, real proof, not just one photo from a stranger, so I started watching. Tom said he had to run to the store. Claire offered to go with him to help. I said nothing, just watched them leave together. I waited 5 minutes, then I grabbed my keys and followed. They didn't go to the store, they went to a motel. The cheap kind. The kind with hourly rates and broken neon signs. I parked 3 spaces away, watched them walk in hand, like a real couple. My stomach turned. I took photos, timestamps, license plates, everything. They stayed for 40 minutes. I counted every second. When they came out, he kissed her. Right there in the parking lot, not a peck. A real kiss. The kind he used to give me. I should have confronted them, but I didn't. I drove home, got there before they did, and acted like nothing happened. That night, Tom climbed into bed beside me, kissed my forehead, told me he loved me. I didn't respond. He tried to hold me. I moved away. He asked what was wrong. I said I was tired. Grieving, he didn't push, just rolled over and fell asleep. I lay there, staring at the ceiling, listening to him breathe, wondering how someone could lie so easily, how someone could betray you and then sleep peacefully beside you. I thought about waking him up, screaming at him, throwing him out, but I didn't. Because I had a plan, and it required patience. So I waited, I watched, I collected evidence, text messages, receipts, more photos. I became a detective in my own life, and what I found broke me. But it also made me stronger, because now I knew exactly what I was dealing with. Claire called the next morning, asked if I wanted to get brunch, just us. Sister time. I almost said no. But then I realized this was my chance to see if she'd crack, to see if guilt would show on her face, so I said yes. We met at our usual spot, the cafe where we'd spent hundreds of Sundays together, laughing, talking, sharing secrets. Now it all felt fake. She ordered for both of us, like always, talked about Mom, about the funeral, about how hard this must be for me. She reached across the table, held my hand, looked me in the eye, and lied. She said if I ever needed anything, she'd be there. That we only had each other now, that family was everything. I smiled, squeezed her hand back, and lied too. Told her I didn't know what I'd do without her. It was the performance of my life. I asked her about her love life. Casual, like I always did, she blushed. Said she'd been seeing someone special. But she wasn't ready to talk about it yet. I pushed gently, asked if it was serious. She smiled, said maybe, that he made her feel alive, that it was complicated. I bet it was. I asked if I knew him. She hesitated, then said no. Another lie. I watched her face, the way she looked away, the way she played with her coffee cup. She was nervous. Good, she should be. I told her I was happy for her, that she deserved someone amazing. She thanked me, said I was the best sister in the world. I wanted to throw my coffee in her face. Instead, I paid the bill, hugged her goodbye, and went home to gather more evidence. I hired a private investigator, a woman named Diane. She was expensive, but worth it. I gave her everything I had, the photos, the timeline, the motel address. She said she'd have a full report in 2 weeks. I paid her cash, told her to be thorough. She asked if I was okay. I lied, said I was fine. She didn't believe me, but she didn't push. 2 weeks felt like 2 years. I went through the motions, cooked dinner, smiled at Tom, texted Claire, pretended everything was normal, but inside I was planning, calculating, waiting. Tom noticed I was distant, asked if I wanted to talk. I said I was still grieving. He accepted that, stopped asking. Claire invited me over. I went, sat in her apartment, drank her wine, and imagined all the times Tom had been there, in her bed, touching her, lying to me. Diane called on day 13, said she had something. We met at a coffee shop across town. She slid a folder across the table, didn't say a word. I opened it. Inside were photos, dozens of them, Tom and Claire at restaurants, at her apartment, at our house, in his car, kissing, holding hands, laughing. There were dates, timestamps, receipts, hotel records going back 8 months, 8 months. I felt like I'd been punched. Diane said there was more, phone records, text messages. She'd gotten into Claire's cloud. Everything was there. Plans, promises, conversations about me, about how I was too focused on work, too boring, too predictable. They talked about leaving, about being together, about waiting until the time was right. I closed the folder, paid Diane the rest of her fee, and thanked her. She told me to be careful. I told her I would be. I didn't confront them, not yet. Instead, I made copies of everything. I stored them in 3 different places: cloud, USB, safety deposit box. Then I called a lawyer, a divorce attorney recommended by a friend. Her name was Patricia. She was sharp, no nonsense, expensive. I told her everything, showed her the evidence. She smiled, said I had a strong case, that Tom wouldn't see it coming. I asked what I should do. She laid out a plan. First, protect my assets. Second, document everything. Third, wait for the right moment. I followed her instructions exactly. I moved money, changed passwords, updated beneficiaries. I did it all slowly, carefully, so Tom wouldn't notice. He didn't. He was too busy, too distracted, too in love with my sister. Patricia said when I was ready, she'd file. Fast, clean, brutal. I told her soon, very soon. Tom planned a weekend away, said he needed to clear his head. Go see an old college friend. I didn't believe him, so I checked, called the friend. He hadn't heard from Tom in years, so I knew he was going away with her. I acted supportive, told him to take his time, to relax. He kissed me goodbye, said he loved me. I watched him pack, watched him leave. Then I called Diane, asked her to follow him. She did, sent me updates every hour. They went to a cabin, 2 hours north. Romantic. Secluded, I saw photos of them arriving, unloading bags, holding hands. I felt nothing. No anger, no sadness, just cold determination, because I was done. Done pretending. Done waiting. I called Patricia, told her to file the papers. She said they'd be ready Monday. I said perfect. Then I made one more call, to Claire. I told Claire I needed her, that I was falling apart, that I couldn't be alone. She came over immediately, brought wine, chocolate, tissues. She hugged me, said everything would be okay. I cried. Real tears this time, not for Tom, for the sister I used to have. The one I thought I knew. She held me, told me she'd always be there. I asked her about her new relationship. She lit up. Started talking, said he was perfect, that she'd never felt this way, that it was complicated but worth it. I asked why it was complicated. She hesitated, said he was in a difficult situation, that he'd be free soon. I asked if he was married. She went pale, stammered, said it wasn't like that. I stared at her, waited. She couldn't hold my gaze. I knew then. She knew I knew. I didn't say anything, just kept staring. She started crying, said she was sorry, that she didn't mean for it to happen, that it just did. I asked who, she wouldn't say. I asked again. She shook her head, begged me not to make her. I stood up, told her to get out. She grabbed my arm, said I didn't understand, that it was real, that they loved each other. I pulled away, asked if he loved her at Mom's funeral too. Her face went white. She opened her mouth. Nothing came out. I told her I knew about Tom, about everything. She started sobbing, saying she was sorry, that she didn't know how to stop, that it started as nothing. I told her to leave. She begged. I screamed. She left. I locked the door and smiled, because now she'd tell him, and he'd panic, and they'd make mistakes. Tom came home early, burst through the door, asked what I said to Claire. She'd called him, crying, hysterical. I played dumb, said we had a fight about her mystery boyfriend. He relaxed, asked what about. I said she wouldn't tell me who he was, that it felt like she was hiding something. He said maybe she just wanted privacy. I agreed, said maybe I overreacted. He bought it, completely. Told me to apologize to her. I said I would. He kissed my cheek, said he was glad I was feeling better. That the trip helped him too. I bet it did. That night he was extra affectionate. Guilty, probably, trying to make up for something I wasn't supposed to know about. I let him, played along, because the papers were being filed in 2 days, and I wanted him to be blindsided. Monday morning came. Tom left for work. I waited 30 minutes. Then Patricia called, said the papers were filed, that a process server would deliver them at his office by noon. I thanked her, hung up, and finally breathed. It was happening. I called my boss, took the week off, said it was a family emergency. Then I called a locksmith, had the locks changed. Packed Tom's things, put them in the garage, every shirt, every shoe, every toothbrush. I worked fast, efficiently. No emotion, just action. By 11, the house was mine again, no trace of him left. I sat on the couch, drank coffee, and waited. At 12:15, my phone rang. Tom, screaming, asking what the hell was going on. I hung up. He called again. I didn't answer. He showed up an hour later. Keys didn't work. He pounded on the door. I didn't open it. He screamed through the door, said we needed to talk, that this was insane. I told him to call his lawyer. He said he didn't have a lawyer. I said he should get one. He begged, said he loved me, that we could work through this. I asked if Claire was working through it with us too. Silence. Long, heavy, then more begging. I told him everything was in the garage, that he had 24 hours to get it. After that, it'd be on the curb. He called me cruel, cold. I laughed. Actually laughed. Told him I learned from the best. He stopped talking. I heard him breathing, heavy, angry, then footsteps. He left. I watched from the window. He sat in his car for 20 minutes, just staring at the house. Then he drove away. I locked the door, closed the blinds, and felt free for the first time in months. Claire called next. I didn't answer. She texted. Hundreds of times, said we needed to talk. That she could explain, that I was being unfair. The word almost made me laugh. I blocked her number. She showed up at the house. I didn't open the door. She cried on the porch, begged, said she was sorry, that she loved me. I watched from upstairs, felt nothing. She stayed for an hour, then left. My phone buzzed. Unknown number, a text from Tom, said I was ruining lives, that I was bitter, angry, unforgiving. That what they had was real, that I should be happy for them. I screenshotted it. Sent it to Patricia. She said it'd help in court. I thanked her. Then I blocked him too. I was done listening. Done caring. I'd said everything I needed to say. Now I was just moving forward. The divorce moved fast. Tom didn't fight. Couldn't really. The evidence was overwhelming. He signed everything Patricia put in front of him. I got the house, the car, most of the savings. He got nothing. Well, he got Claire. They moved in together 2 weeks after the papers were final, into a tiny apartment across town. I heard through mutual friends, people who didn't know the full story, who thought we just grew apart. I didn't correct them, didn't tell them what really happened. I didn't need to. The truth had a way of coming out, and it did, slowly. People started noticing, started asking questions, started putting pieces together. Tom and Claire stopped getting invited to things. People chose sides. Most chose mine, not because I asked, but because betrayal has a stench, and they reeked of it. I started rebuilding. Slowly, Therapy, gym, new hobbies. I reconnected with old friends, made new ones, focused on work, got a promotion, bought new furniture, painted the walls, changed everything that reminded me of him, of them. It wasn't easy. Some days I felt strong, others I felt broken, but I kept going, kept moving, kept choosing myself. 6 months after the divorce, I ran into them. At a grocery store, they were arguing, loud, public, about money, about trust. About who sacrificed more. I walked past them, didn't say a word. Claire saw me, her face went red. Tom didn't notice. Too busy yelling, I smiled. Not at them, at myself, because I'd won, not by destroying them, but by saving myself, by walking away, by choosing peace over revenge. A year later, I got a message from Claire. She'd unblocked herself somehow, said she missed me, that she was sorry, that she'd made a mistake, that Tom wasn't who she thought he was, that he'd cheated on her too with someone from work. I almost felt bad for her, almost. But then I remembered the funeral, the lies, the betrayal, and I felt nothing. I didn't respond, didn't engage, just deleted the message, blocked her again. Some people don't deserve second chances. Some bridges are better burned. She'd made her choice. Now she had to live with it, just like I was living with mine. And honestly, I was doing just fine, better than fine. I was happy, actually happy. Something I hadn't been in years, not because of revenge, but because of freedom. I started dating again. Nothing serious, just exploring, remembering what it felt like to be wanted, appreciated, respected. It was nice, different, scary, but nice. I met someone, a man named James. Kind, patient, honest. We took things slow. He knew about my past, about the betrayal. He didn't judge, didn't push, just listened. He told me his own story, his own heartbreak. We bonded over our scars, over our survival. It wasn't perfect, but it was real, and that mattered. We didn't rush, didn't make promises we couldn't keep. We just existed together, comfortably, happily. He made me laugh, made me feel safe, made me believe that not everyone was like Tom, like Claire, that good people still existed. And maybe I deserved one. Maybe I deserved to be happy. 2 years after the divorce, I heard Tom and Claire broke up. Messy, loud, public. She'd found out he'd been cheating the entire time they were together with multiple women. She called me, I didn't answer. She left a voicemail, said I was right, that she should have listened, that she was sorry, that she hoped I'd forgive her someday. I saved the voicemail, not because I wanted to forgive her, but because I wanted to remember what betrayal looked like, what it sounded like. So I'd never let it happen again. I didn't call her back, didn't reach out. She was my past, and I was focused on my future. A future that didn't include her, or Tom, or anyone who couldn't value what they had. I'd learned my lesson, and I was better for it. People ask me if I regret how I handled things, if I wish I'd confronted them sooner, screamed, made a scene. I tell them no, because handling it my way gave me power, gave me control. I didn't let them see me break. Didn't give them the satisfaction. I stayed calm, collected evidence, protected myself, and walked away with my dignity intact. That mattered more than revenge, more than anger, more than making them hurt, because they were already hurting, already destroying themselves. I didn't need to do anything. I just needed to let them. And I did. Some people think I'm cold. Maybe I am, but I'm also free. Free from people who didn't deserve me. Free from a life built on lies. And honestly, that's the best revenge of all, living well, moving on, being happy. So here's what I learned. Trust your gut. If something feels wrong, it probably is. Protect yourself. Always, don't let loyalty blind you to betrayal, and know your worth. Know that you deserve honesty, respect. Love that doesn't come with conditions or lies. I lost my mother, my husband, my sister, but I found myself. And that was worth everything. If you've ever been betrayed by someone you trusted, I hope you know you're not alone. I hope you know you'll survive, you'll heal. You'll be stronger. And one day, you'll be grateful it happened, because it led you to something better, to someone better, maybe even to yourself. Thank you for sticking with me until the end. If this story resonated with you, drop a comment below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. And if you enjoyed this story, don't forget to check out more at King's Revenge Vault. Sometimes the best revenge is simply moving forward.